Joints. A place where two or more bones get articulated with one another is called a joint. Joints help to connect different parts of skeleton and form a basic framework of body. Study of structure and functions of various joints is called arthrology. At joints, the bones are connected to each other by ligaments. Ligaments are tough, elastic, fibrous connective tissue bands or threads which connect bone to bone at joint. Ligaments keep the bones in proper position and avoid dislocation of bones during the movement. Significance of joints is to help in locomotion. Joints also help in desirable voluntary movements of body parts. Joints bring flexibility in rigid skeleton. Some joints are protective and act as shock absorbers. Classification of joints. On the basis of structure and degree of mobility, the joints are classified into three groups. 1. Synarthrosis or fibrous joints or fixed joints. For example, 1. Sutures of skull. 2. Syndesmoses. 3. Gomphosis or peg and socket joint. Second, Amphiarthrosis or cartilagenous joints or slightly movable joints. For example, 1. Synchondrosis, 2. Symphysis, 3. Intervertebral joints. Third, Diarthrosis or synovial joints or freely movable joints. For example, 1. Ball and socket joint, 2. Hinge joint, 3. Gliding joint, 4. Condyloid joint, 5. Saddle joint, and 6. Pivot joint. First, Synarthrosis, fibrous joints. The bones are united at the joints by thin or dense layer of white fibrous connective tissue. The white fibers are made up of a protein, collagen. These joints are fixed, that is, cannot permit any movement of articulating bones. Short and thick fibers do not allow movement of articulating bones. The line of fusion at joint is called suture. Fixed joints are primarily meant for growth and may permit molding during childbirth. Usually, these joints are the places of growth. A. Sutures of skull. Serrate sutures. These joints are found in flat and curved roofing bones of the skull. These joints are also called serrate joints because articulating surfaces of the bones show serrated margins. The bones are repeatedly interlocked, therefore joints become more fixed and protective in function. The prominent sutures between cranial bones of skull are: first, coronal suture, which is present between frontal bone and parietal bones. Second, sagittal suture, present between two parietal bones. Third, lambdoidal suture, present between parietals and occipital bone. Fourth, lateral suture, present between temporal and parietal bones. In young or newborn, the roofing bones of skull leave about 6 gaps called fontanelles. Fontanelles permit flexibility for parturition and brain growth. At about 2 years of age, the gaps are closed by ossification. B. Syndesmoses. Fibrous connective tissue that connects 2 bones. Example, tibia and fibula. C. Gomphosis. Characteristic of thecodont teeth. The roots of the teeth are fixed in sockets, alveoli of jaw bones. The fibrous connections in this case are many short periodontal ligaments. Second, Amphiarthrosis, cartilagenous joints. These are also called Amphiarthroses because they are neither fixed nor freely movable. It is intermediate stage of joints when related to development and movement. They allow some movement in response to compression, tension, or twisting. The line of fusion between articulating bones is called synchondrosis or symphysis. Have a look at the figure. Symphysis, example, intervertebral disc, pubic symphysis. A. Synchondrosis. The connecting material is a hyaline cartilage. It is very soft and elastic with minimum strength. For example, epiphyseal plate. This epiphyseal plate is present between epiphysis and diaphysis of the long bones. It is a temporary joint present in children and it gets ossified in adult. This joint provides the site and means for growth of the long bones in children. It also contributes to the flexibility in the endoskeleton of children. B. Symphysis. The connecting material is a fibrocartilage. Fibrocartilage is an opaque, comparatively strong but flexible structure due to the presence of numerous white fibers of collagen. It is present between 2 pubic bones of the pelvic girdle. The pubic bones are connected by a disc of fibrocartilage. It allows slight movements as compression, bending, twisting, etc. It makes the joint more flexible. In females, it helps to increase the size of the birth canal for easy parturition. In males, it is comparatively less flexible. Typical synovial joint. It consists of synovial cavity, synovial fluid, synovial membrane, capsule, ligaments, and articulating surfaces covered by hyaline cartilage. A. Synovial membrane. It lines the cavity and forms a synovial capsule. The synovial membrane secretes synovial fluid. It encloses fluid-filled synovial cavity and protects internal parts of joint.
B. Synovial fluid. It is a clear, yellowish, slimy and viscous fluid similar to lymph. The viscosity of fluid is due to hyaluronic acid secreted by the cells of the synovial membrane. It contains nutrients and mucus. The fluid lubricates the joint and nourishes hyaline cartilage. The fluid also contains phagocytes, which remove microorganisms and cellular debris. Deficiency of this fluid causes atherosclerosis. C. Hyaline cartilage. It covers the end of the articulating surfaces of the bone and prevents direct contact or friction between the bones. D. Ligaments. The joints are provided with capsular ligaments and numerous accessory ligaments. Accessory ligament may be intra or extracapsular. Ligaments help to avoid dislocation of bones and make the joints stronger.
6. Pivot joint. Articular surfaces comprise a central bony pivot, which is dense, surrounded by an osteoligamentous ring. One bone remains fixed, while other bone rotates freely around the pivot-shaped process of fixed bone. It allows uniaxial movement, that is rotation. Examples of this joint is atlantoaxial joint. Atlas moves along with skull around the pivot like odontoid process of axis. This joint allows rotation movement of the skull. On the basis of structure, functions, movements, and shape of articulating bones, the joints are named as 1. Ball and socket joint. The spherical head of one bone fits into a cup-shaped socket of other bone. These joints are prone for easy dislocation or separation on sudden strain. These joints allow multi-axial movements. The shoulder joint allows rotatory or circular movements 360 degrees, and hip joint allows straight movement. Shoulder joints, hip joint, etc. are examples of ball and socket joint. Hinge joint. Spoon-shaped surface of one bone fits into the concave cavity of other bone. There are strong collateral ligaments. These joints resist dislocation. These joints allow uniaxial, that is 180 degrees, movements and resemble with the movements of door and window. In elbow joint, the ulna works as hinges, so only forward movement is possible. In knee joint, the patella or kneecap works as hinge, so only backward movement is possible. Examples: elbow joints, knee joints. Condyloid joint. These are also called ellipsoid joints. Oval-shaped condyle of one bone fits into elliptical cavity of other bone. These joints allow biaxial movements, that is, forward, backward, and side to side, but not rotation. Radius carpal, metacarpal, phalangeal joints are examples of condyloid joint. Gliding joints. The articular bones are permitted for gliding or sliding movements. These joints allow non-axial movements which are neither back-forth nor side-to-side but irregular. The articulating surface is convex, so friction is avoided. Intercarpal joints, intertarsal joints, etc. are examples of gliding joints. Saddle joint. The characteristic of this joint is that the articulating surfaces of bones are saddle-shaped. That is, each surface has both concave and convex area. Each surface is convex in one plane, concave in the perpendicular plane. It resembles with condyloid joint, but it allows greater freedom of movement for the joint. This joint allows biaxial movement. Edges of first metacarpal and carpal, that is trapezium of thumb, is peripherally articulated, so saddle joint makes free movement. Carpo-metacarpal joint of thumb is example of saddle joint. It is the most flexible joint in the body. Saddle joint has evolutionary significance in human evolution. It increases grasping power of fingers and helps in skillful work like writing, drawing, painting, etc. Myasthenia gravis. This is an autoimmune condition of unknown origin. Antibodies are produced which block and bind to the acetylcholine receptors of neuromuscular junction. Thus, transmission of nerve impulses to the muscle fibers is blocked. This causes progressive and extensive muscle weakness. It may affect the eye and eyelid movements, facial expression, and swallowing. The degree of muscle weakness varies from the local to general. Example, eyelid muscles, ptosis, that is drooping of eyelid, diplopia or double vision, difficulty in swallowing, chewing, and speech. Arthritis. It is characterized by inflammation of joints. Inflammation, pain, and stiffness may also be present in adjacent parts of the body, such as the muscles near the joint. There are three types. 1. Gouty arthritis or gout. It is caused due to excessive accumulation of uric acid in the body due to excessive reduction or inability to excrete. It gets deposited in joints and leads to severe pain. 2. Osteoarthritis. It is characterized by degeneration of the cartilage pad. Joints of knees, hands, and spine are usually affected by this disease. 3. Rheumatoid arthritis. It is characterized by the inflammation of synovial membrane. The membrane thickens and synovial fluid increases, exerting pressure that causes severe pain. The membrane then starts secreting abnormal granules called pannus, which causes erosion of cartilage. Osteoporosis. It is an age-dependent disease. In women, after menopause, the estrogen secretion becomes less, causing loss of calcium. The bones become porous due to low bone mass. Skeleton fails to withstand the stress of body. It is also caused by deficiency of vitamin D, calcium, sex hormones, and thyrocalcitonin.